Sachin, is my screen visible?
हाँ visible तो है लेकिन it's showing up as a mobile format.
Yes, yes. I have actually joined from mobile phone.
Hmm. Um.
It's not readable also.
Yeah.
Is it legible?
नहीं.
No. So if you don't mind, I have shared this CV with you on WhatsApp one-on-one few days ago. In case you are on a desktop, if you can share your screen.
So one second. Ashutosh. I think format तो ठीक है आशुतोष तुम्हारा. I don't think there is anything.
Hmm.
It's a one pager. I think telephone and email ID दो जगह लिखा हुआ है.
Yes.
क्यों?
The beginning and the end. No specific reason, Sachet. जगह देखी तो लिख दिया. I can remove it if one is able to point out that it is written twice, then definitely I can remove it. But no
Because
specific reason.
because the thing is like you want to do away with redundant information, right? Like
Hmm.
like the CV looks very professional, so you don't need to like mention things two times.
Fair.
P&L responsibility, end-to-end ownership. Yeah, ठीक है, ठीक है. I think there's a lot in the first one,
Hmm.
which is, I mean, a good thing, I suppose. But ठीक है, let's come back to that. Aditya Birla, ठीक है, additional. April. You can actually remove Car Dekho, to be honest, if you want,
Okay.
because
Okay.
you have a lot going on with the Aditya Birla thing and the Amazon India thing. So
Hmm.
keep it simple because I don't think Car Dekho mein it's relevant also for you, the kind of roles that you want.
Hmm. Hmm.
तो वो हटा सकते
Okay.
हैं.
Then
Hmm?
the white space which this will create.
हाँ, so no,
Removal of this.
the thing is it's the currently the spacing sort of makes it look very busy. I think let me
Okay.
show you guys also so that थोड़ा idea लग जाएगा सबको. एक second. I need to log into this. Do you have a link to your CV, Ashutosh? Like a digital
I
link?
do have, but again it is in the laptop which I don't have access to currently.
अच्छा चलो ठीक है रखो. ठीक है. I think there's a like it looks very busy. Like format तो सही है लेकिन थोड़ा spacing
Hmm.
you could you know let it breathe a
Hmm.
little so that it sort of becomes more readable. Um, you should definitely add more extracurricular activities.
Okay.
Um, so let me just show you like it's sort of wait. इसमें आ ही नहीं रहा है. तो positions of responsibility extracurricular activities में you mentioned 2 points. उसमें you could add your interests, your hobbies. Um, I'm sure like you've done more than just two things.
Hmm.
तो वो ऐड कर लो उसमें.
Oh.
Make it look more bulkier.
Okay. इसमें I have a query.
Hmm.
See, reading, traveling, listening to music. These are some of the hobbies which are in everyone's CV.
Hmm.
So and which are actual hobbies of most of the people.
Hmm.
So is it okay to write it here?
Well, it depends on how you write it.
Okay.
Like traveling in everyone's hobby. But you saw like Bismay had mentioned, like the way he had sort of, mentioned like he's traveled to 5 European countries. ऐसा कुछ लिखा था ना Bismay? Um,
Understood.
so it really depends on like how you sort of mention it.
Hmm.
Like is it just going to be like I've traveled, or is it going to be like I've traveled to 28 states with,
Hmm.
covered 15 wildlife sanctuaries or something like that. So it makes it just the narrative changes.
Hmm. Understood. Sachet will implement this.
ठीक है. Um, ये जो फॉर्मेट मैंने शेयर किया ना सीवी का, these are like your Ivy League formats, like ये MIT का फॉर्मेट है.
Okay.
तो है तो MBA का ही, but if you want to upgrade, it will sort of look better is also
I would
essential.
attempt the
हाँ,
same.
ठीक है. Cool. So let's start with today's. You guys have any more like questions about cover letter, CV, etc.?
A quick question, Sajid. So, do we need to write down the you know the name of the role, like something like customer market product manager, something like that, product owner? Does that add any value if somebody is going to scan my CV? Uh, the title of the role that I'm applying for, does that make sense? Because I've seen certain CV formats and they have that. So, what I mean.
क्या फिर से बोलना like
Yeah. Okay. Sorry if I was not audible. I was saying the title of the CV. So if I'm applying for a product manager role, then should I write it at the top, Dasma Mahapatra, then underneath the digital product manager or
Oh.
SaaS product manager?
नहीं ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं है. I don't think that's I'll come to that. Basically your your CV doesn't have to have the title in itself, but because the emails that you send out will have subject lines, so that will cover your intent.
Okay.
So that's what I was saying, like इसमें तीन parts हैं. The email that you send out, which is the cold email, the cover letter which the cold email will have, and the CV. So हर एक का अपना अपना, there's a part that it plays.
Right. And do you mean cover letter को हम लोग email में paste करके भेजें? Is that what you're saying?
हाँ, so I'll cover that today. I'll tell you what I mean. You guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so today's session, we will cover how to apply. Very, very important that you guys understand it's a numbers game. That the number of doors that you knock on, the more the opportunity expands, and the more the chances of you sort of getting one door to open. So it's a very, very simple math thing. ठीक है. दो चीज़ें हैं इसमें. एक तो if you apply, like I mentioned in the beginning of this course also, like if you apply to 100 jobs, probably like 10 will get back to you. 10 में से you probably get 2 interviews, and 2 interviews से you probably get 1 job, which is what you want at the end of the day. But 10 जॉब में अप्लाई करने से नहीं होगा, या 20 जॉब में अप्लाई करने से नहीं होगा. मे बी इट विल वर्क आउट समटाइम्स, बट यू शुड ऑलवेज give yourself the best opportunity to explore the best options. Like the more options you have, the better it is. Because at the end of the day, if you get even like 1 or 2 job offers or 3 job offers, you will have more confidence to negotiate with people. So don't just stop at applying at 10 jobs and say like अच्छा मुझे शायद इसमें तो मिल ही जाएगा etc. Apply to at least 100, 150, 200 jobs, and I'll cover how to do that also this time, and play the numbers game, right? That gives you the best advantage here. तो cold email में दो ही फंडा है. there is the double A thing. One is you're trying to catch attention. Second is the second A is that you're trying to get them to take action. Um, how do you get attention? Um, Number one is the subject line. There are a lot of these email marketing tools that like write this catchy subject line, etc. If you can do that, do it. But I would say keep it simple. Uh, Baseline ये है कि you should sort of make your intent very clear. Like how you were saying with your CV, you should sort of mention it. So keep your intent very clear. Applying for a business analyst role, put like a slash and then write your name, right? Looking for a role within your company, and then your name. So keep it very, very straightforward so that the person understands that this is an email that is from a person looking for a job. So click through ratio भी बहुत simple हो जाएगा फिर. Then you know that person, if they're clicking through, then you know want to उनके लिए relevant है.
Right.
Okay. In the cold email, when you start, uh, tell them why you're writing to them. This is um, part of I think something that you covered in your cover letter already. But in the first paragraph, I think summarize um, your intent of writing to them.
Right.
Third thing is insert your cover letter. After the first paragraph, insert cover letter is the story that you're basically building. That I'm a professional with 5 to 10 years of experience. I've basically done blah blah blah, and then I have these skills and I aspire to be this. I began my journey doing etc. etc. So 2-3 paragraph में basically summarize your whole story in that cover letter. In the end, um, don't sort of, I would say, like write something that leads to them taking action, which is could be like, let me know if we can chat further on this. Let me know if we can basically get on a phone call to talk more about this. I would love to basically hear your thoughts on this. Don't make it sound too desperate. Basically, my point was that take it take it in a very sort of optimistic way that you want to have a chat about um, this role or about the organization and the opportunity the organization has with the person. And then last but not the least, add the PDF in the PDF of your CV in the email. Okay.
Yeah.
So cold email basically, because you've done the cover letter already, cold email में दो ही चीज़ें करनी है. एक टॉप में ऐड करना है अपना why are you writing to that specific company, and end में ऐड करना है couple of lines कि what is the action, what is the CTA for this, that I would like to chat more with you, etc., and add the CV. So then your cold email is technically ready. The variables in the cold email are, of course, why are you writing to them. You could actually you could be smart about that and leave that as a variable, and in the tracking software that I'll go to next, you can add information about the company, and that will also like you don't have to then write each email again and again. ये थोड़ा समझ आया मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ?
Maybe if we see the example.
Okay. I'll come to that. Okay. So cold email में mostly 3 responses होते हैं. People will either say no, and don't take it personally. Just say thank you, for reading my email. And then of course you can make the best of the opportunity, saying like, "Oh, can you help me? Can you connect me to someone in your network who you think would be relevant or who's hiring right now?" Like try and sort of turn that no into an opportunity. The second response that people usually have is, let me forward it to someone that I know. It's a positive response, but they're saying like, oh, let me forward it to someone else who might be more relevant, etc. In that case, don't let that communication drop, follow up with them till you get that connect, till the person basically writes. Like what they're intending to do is basically connect you with someone, so let follow up with them till they do that. Don't give up on that. The third thing that people will say, yes, let me get someone to schedule or interview, or let me schedule get someone to basically do the chat etc. तो फिर वो इंटरव्यूइंग के लिए कोई स्केड्यूल करने के लिए होगा, तो देन उसके साथ भी फॉलो अप करना पड़ेगा. सो डोंट लेट दैट गो आल्सो. टेल देम दैट यू आर एक्साइटेड अबाउट द चैट एटसेट्रा. सो मोस्टली 3 responses होते हैं. तीनों में यू कैन सॉर्ट ऑफ टर्न दिस इनटू अ पॉजिटिव थिंग. But the thing is to follow up. Don't sort of take it, be on the back seat and say like, अच्छा चलो, like इसने ना बोल दिया तो क्या हो गया? It's fine. Follow up with a person to basically figure out like if you can get someone in their network to um, talk to you.
Right.
And what should be the frequency of like following up, like once in 2 days or after the 3 days? How should we?
Give like 3 to 4 working days in terms of the space that you want to give them. Minimum.
Okay.
ठीक है.
And I think it will also differ if I'm writing to a HR recruiter versus a, let's say, head of the department or head of the vertical.
Yeah, definitely. But I say 3 to 4 working days is a good safe buffer in any case. ठीक है. So tracking software. I already spoke of the job funnel to you guys. Have you guys started creating a database for yourself?
Yes, it's mostly a tracker that I've created to the number of companies that I've found on the over LinkedIn or couple of other portals who have open job opportunities.
ठीक है. So for the database that you have, either from your professional network, add their name, company name, their email ID and position, etc. in a specific Google sheet. This could be references, people you've met in the past for networking event, through, you can even ask your friends, etc. for references who work in different companies, etc. So one is your personal network. Second is through the LinkedIn exercise that I spoke to you guys about last week actually. I spoke to about how to take out their email IDs, right? Once they accept into the request, right? Like if you
I don't think so.
no, okay, one second. Okay, so let's say I go to this nice. This may am I added in your profile?
Yeah.
Is this the one?
Yeah.
Okay. ये जो है contact info.
Right.
But not everybody adds their email ID over here.
So that's the thing is like most people do add it. So you can take out email IDs from people's profile from their contact info, or you can use
Yeah, maybe sales tools like Lusha.
yeah, there are these Chrome extensions that you can use. Musha. What is the spelling?
Or LUSHA.
Yeah.
And I have observed that if you go on any HR's profile, they generally do the job posting on LinkedIn, and they share the email ID also for the HR. So from there also you can get the email IDs.
Yeah. So my point being ki, the database that you're creating, um, you can use your own personal network through LinkedIn posts from people who are basically sort of hiring. Most people, when they're hiring, they mention their email ID anyway. Um, but it's important to sort of collect these email IDs, and this will sort of be a recurring activity every, like whenever you sort of start hunting for jobs again, you can obviously go back to your original database and use that, because these guys have also grown in their jobs. So typically who you want to track is from your remember from your research and shortlisting companies, um, the thing that I mentioned in the last session, that once you sort of have a list of startups, etc., go to their head of businesses, go to their HR heads, HR VPs, people who are hiring managers or HRs, um, find out who that person is in that specific company, and add them on LinkedIn, put them in an Excel sheet also, and then go back to the Excel sheet once they accept the request and add their contact details. So, and don't stop at like one or two people, add like, 5-10 people from that specific company, so that you at least have a good chance of finding out someone in that company who can at least connect you to the right person within that company.
Right. Yeah.
ठीक है. So typically, Barka, you're right, not everyone adds email IDs, but most people do. So what you want is ki you add enough people in a specific startup that one of them basically, once you write to them, they connect you to the relevant person.
Okay.
Okay. There is this tracking software for mail merge. Have you guys ever used mail merge before? Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Is it for tracking email? Or if someone has opened the email or not?
You can actually use that for email tracking also. So I recently used Yam for Gmail. This is quite good. It actually helps you do follow-up emails also in a very automated fashion. You don't have to individually follow up with people. And this is free also, so you guys can easily use this. So जैसे इसमें लिखा ना, prepare your mailing list in the Google Sheet. So this is that Google Sheet that I mentioned, the CSV that you guys need to create with the company name, with the name, email ID, the position the person is in. The email template is the email, the cold email that I'm talking about.
Right.
And then it's quite simple. Like it sort of shows up like this once you start sending out emails. Yeah.
If you're using the free version, does it come in the signature that's sent by mail merge?
No, I don't think so. Okay. So once you send out these emails, there are 3 scenarios that will sort of pop up. The biggest chunk of the whole deal will be there'll be no response. People will look at your email and they won't respond. What you need to do is basically send them at least 2 to 3 follow-up emails with 3 to 4 working days ka gap so that it doesn't become too annoying. Um, and let it go. Like after the second follow-up or the third follow-up, if they're not replying, then let that person be. Um, the second scenario is they will say no. In that case, we discuss like say thank you for reading out my life story, etc., and then ask them for references. Number three scenario is people who are positive. When people are positive, they will basically say like, "Oh, let's do a meeting," or like, "I will connect you with someone who I think is relevant," etc. So in that case, just follow up with them till you get that meeting. And even at some point you feel that meeting is not relevant, uh, just do the interview because you need the practice. The deal with interviewing is that it's a skill like any other skill. You get better at it when you practice. So practice interviewing so that you become better at it with time. A few things to remember on this is that because you're sending out emails to, let's say, hundreds of people asking for jobs, don't take it personally. Don't take rejection personally. Your self-worth is not attached to your job. Like, don't think about it like, if they say no to me, they're saying no to my whole personality. Like, it's just you're asking them for a specific thing, and if they are in a position to give it to you, they will. If they're not, then they won't. So um, don't take rejection personally, because that becomes like a big hindrance in applying to, let's say, 200 places. Um, the follow-up thing I told you about, don't follow up too aggressively because that'll burn the bridge. The person might end up, blocking you or just putting you in spam or something. Um, don't annoy people with too many frequent follow-ups also.
In certain cases, the email signature also has the mobile number of the concerned person to whom we are writing an email. Should we utilize that opportunity to give them a call if they are not following up on the email?
Try it. I've never tried it, but I think it can't
I have tried it before, and most of the time they're like, "Oh, I forgot to check the email."
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you can get them to respond to your email by texting them, or everyone checks WhatsApp, so if you can do that, yeah, I don't think.
And sometimes, like, people reach out on LinkedIn that we've reviewed a profile and we would like to go ahead, and this is the job role, etc., etc. And once we respond to them, but they don't turn up again. I mean, they do not respond back. Like, they ask for the time, like, we want 30 to 45 minutes of interview. When are you available? Give us a date. But then they don't turn up.
So follow up. That's really the thing is, you don't know what's happening with their lives, right? So let them give them the chance to basically respond. But after the third follow up, it's a good there's a good chance that they're not interested, or something happened that like they hired someone else most probably, so they don't want to like continue putting in energy into other conversations.
But why do they don't respond? I mean, this is the most annoying thing I feel. I mean, we reach out to so many people, at least they can respond with, okay, no, we have closed the hiring, or we have hired somebody else, so there is some other situation. We don't want to continue.
Yeah. I think people are just non-confrontational.
Yeah, true.
So they don't want to deal with difficult situations, and saying no is very tough. It's better to just ghost people than to say no. So, and most most of the times, even when someone tries to do the right thing, there are enough candidates who will make sure that the person has a hard time. So then they don't end up doing this.
True. Of late, I've given an interview in an agency where they were looking out for a social media role. But when I went for the interview, the questions were related to media buying profile. Like, are you aware of GA4? And have you handled ad campaigns on like Google, etc.? So I asked the person who was taking the interview that in the job description, the roles and responsibilities were different. That is why I went ahead and applied for it. So then he said that, yeah, but we are also looking for this.
So होता क्या है कि like an interview sort of is a discovery of the opportunity and the skill set. Like this is the opportunity we have and this is the skill set that you have. Does it fit in it or not? The person is trying to determine that. The interviewer का job ही यही है basically to he has organizational knowledge and he has information that he's trying to gather from you and he's trying to match those two things. So your job is to help them do that. Like
Yeah.
And you have to understand that most interviewers don't really know what they're doing because no one teaches interviewing in an organization. At least in most organizations, it's just keep interview kar le types, like see if they're right or not. There's no written feedback system, especially startups mein to nahi hota hai. It's very rare that you find people who are good at interviewing. So the idea is that you help the person sort of guide the conversation also. So I will cover this in the next week, which is like having a two-way interview, which is very important as a part of the conversation that you have with people. तो वो next week cover करेंगे. But इस week में I want you guys to basically create the database and send out your applications.
Also, there is this one question which is generally asked that do you have any questions from us?
Always ask a question.
Yeah.
But ask a question which is not just a question, but ask a question which is more relevant to you gathering information. Remember the first session where I was talking about values and trying to determine how what the company wants to do. Do you fit in? The culture is right or not, etc. So an interview is a good time to basically ask those questions, which will help you determine if it's the right opportunity for you or not. इसमें एक ही caveat है कि read the room a bit. Like if the person is not very open, has his guard up and doesn't want to answer too many questions, then it'll be very hard for you to get information. And most of the times, people get annoyed. So, uh, so yeah, just read the room is the thing.
Yeah. If you can cover this also in the next segment, like how we can rephrase these questions.
Yeah. So next week may actually क्या है next week में I'll tell you guys अभी. So next week we'll do two-way interviews, understanding the offer, and closing on the best offer. Basically, how to do interviews well, how to negotiate for the best offer, and how to like close on the best offer. Like these two things we'll sort of cover.
Okay.
But the idea is कि अभी तक you guys must have understood that the reason why I'm sort of going through step by step is that it is a process. You guys figure out like what you want for yourself, then figure out what's out there in the market, then directionally decide like this is where you want to head, and then with the tools that you have prepared, etc., go out like and knock on all possible opportunities so that you find from the whatever's out there, you find at least 2-3 good ones and choose between the 2-3 good ones.
Right.
And the process is not like a one-shot process, like it's an iterative process. There are like once you sort of do this process this week, when you send out, let's say, your first batch of emails, uh, and you have the first round of conversations, you will also realize like, oh, you know, what are you doing right, what are you doing wrong, etc. Then you have to send out the applications again uh, in the following week. The idea is to keep sort of doing this process till you find what you're looking for. Uh, ठीक है.
Right.
So इस हफ्ते तो इतना ही है. But you guys have any questions? We have time.
I think a couple of tasks on hand. At hand. Create this database and start applying.
Yes. ठीक है. Barkha, Ashutosh, you guys?
No, all good.
No specific question, Sachit. All good.
ठीक है. तो एक दो दिन में you guys finish off your cover letter and CV, etc. I think once you have that ready and the database ready, I think then it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, done.
ठीक है. Okay.
Okay.
चलो.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.